Well, hello everybody and welcome to today's GNI live event with me, Caroline Scott. I'm coming to you from London here in the UK. Please do comment, ask as many questions as you like as we run through today's session, and I'll be very, very happy to answer them. So please do write any questions you may have and I will keep checking and come back to them as we go through today's session and at the end. So welcome to the GNI Live. This is from the Google News Lab. As I said, my name is Caroline Scott. And in today's session, we're going to focus on the Summer Games. So reporting on the international sporting events that capture our audience's attention across the globe. So I'm the Google News Lab Teaching Fellow for the UK and Ireland. It's great to be with you all here today. I'm working as part of the Google News Initiative. Now, I know a lot of you who are watching have been following us through all our GNI Lives events that we've been running in the last few weeks and months. So it's great to have you guys on board. But for those of you that don't know about the Google News Initiative or our work here at the Google News Lab, essentially the Google News Lab, we sit under the umbrella of the Google News Initiative here at Google. And it's basically Google's effort to build a stronger future for journalism. So my role as a teaching fellow within the Google News Lab focuses on the first of those 3 E's. So to elevate and strengthen quality journalism. The other areas of focus for the GNI, the Google News Initiative, are evolving business models through programs such as Subscribe with Google and empowering news organizations through technological innovation. So this is mainly achieved through our regional innovation challenges, as well as our development of tools for journalists. So as I say, it's great to be working with you. We work with journalists all over the world, and our aim is to really help you in your storytelling. So whether that's through research, verification, visualization, you name it, we've probably got a tool for it. So just before we kick off, I'd like to draw your attention to the Google Journalist Studio that you can see here on screen. Really what the Journalist Studio is a collection of tools for reporters. So tools for people like yourselves who are looking to do your job more effectively, more efficiently, and often more creatively as well. So you can head over to there. I do have a feedback form for this session, and if you fill it in, which will literally take a couple of moments, I'm going to post that link there in the chat. If you fill that in, you will have access to almost a bit like a cheat sheet, a link sheet with everything from today's session. Okay, so please do make sure you fill that out and you'll have access to all of the URLs and hyperlinks that I'm going to talk about today. So no need to scribble everything down as you're watching this session through. Now, in order to help journalists stay up to date with the latest tools and workflows for finding and telling news stories, we have developed a training website. This is g.co/news training, one of the most important URLs I can tell you guys about today. So make a note of this URL because this site will allow you at your own pace to learn all the elements of digital journalism. So from finding, verifying and visualizing stories on the web. We do a lot of live training in news organizations around the world. But of course, we also have these online lessons that you can do in your own time. So I'll refer back to this site over the course of today's training, which will take about half an hour. But if some point in the future you can't remember how to use a tool or a URL, or you just want to dive into a tool in more depth, you can go over to our training center. So I definitely recommend this resource. So thanks for you guys writing the comments. It's great to see you all here. So today's session, we're going to be talking about covering the Summer Games. So every 4 years, of course, we're treated to a feast of the greatest sporting stories, comebacks, underdogs, superhuman athletes pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So it's absolutely amazing every 4 years to see this. And as audiences, as journalists, we're all excited about this type of storytelling. And we want to help you guys at the Google News Lab to tell stories using data and insights and help people see the Summer Games as never before. So in today's session, I'm going to be covering a variety of tools that you can get stuck into and use straight away. Please let me know in the comments if there's those that take your fancy, or of course, if you do have any questions as we go through, as I've already said. So let's talk about these tools that will help you when you're reporting on sporting trends. Okay, so the first tool I'm going to be talking to you about is Google Trends. Now, Google Trends is a completely free tool that you can use. You can get there by going to g.co/trends. And it's essentially a window into what people are searching for. So you as journalists working in a newsroom or even as freelancers can go onto the tool and see what people are searching for, what people are interested in, get context for your own storytelling that you're already working on, and of course, get interesting insights into what people are looking for. So that kind of story inspiration that we were always looking for. As I say, it's so common now for people to be watching television, even when they're watching sporting events, even quick races, and they're scrolling through their phones, they're using Google, and they're searching for questions that pop into their head. Now, of course, this is a fantastic place to get that story inspiration, as I say, and sometimes it can be actually surprising to see what people search for. So, for example, this is day 4 of the Summer Games in Rio in 2016. There was a huge surge of interest in people wanting to take up equestrian sports as the horses took to the ring. So people are inspired to get started themselves. They're looking at the history of the Summer Games. They're looking at the athletes, and people really want to see, more about what they're watching and more about what they're heavily invested in. Sometimes people are not invested in sports until the Summer Games comes around. So it's really exciting to see what audiences are looking for and answer any questions as reporters that our audiences might be asking. So there is a page that you can go to for insights into what happened in 2016. And I'm going to put that link in the chat that you guys can see. But you can see what people were searching for on different days, some of the top questions, as you can see, and some interesting facts and figures. So as I say, I will put that link in the chat for you now, and you can have a little bit of an explore in your own time. But it's a really fantastic place, using Google Trends to see what our audience is interested in. So this is what Google Trends looks like when you dive into the tool. And of course, you can see daily trending data here. We can see the data changing over time. So we've got real-time trends and we've got daily search trends. So I'm going to show you what that looks like on the website. So here we are within Google Trends. Now we're in real-time search trends, as you can see there in the center of the page. And here I'm looking in the United Kingdom. But depending on the country that you're in and watching this from today, you can change this as well. So it's at trends.google.com, and I'm in my real-time search trends. Now, real-time search trends, as you can see, as I can scroll down, these trends, they highlight stories that are trending across Google within the last 24 hours, okay? So they're updated in real time. They come from the knowledge graph topics, search interest, trending YouTube videos, and or Google News articles detected by our algorithms. And we also here on the left-hand side have the daily search trends. So these are search trends that highlight searches that have jumped significantly in traffic of all searches in the past 24 hours, okay? So these are updated hourly, and they show specific queries that were searched and the absolute number of searches that have been made. So it's a really exciting place to kind of get that inspiration, get that context, answer any questions that have been made. And of course, within Google Trends, those of you that have followed our other GNI live events, where we have delved deeper into Google Trends, on our homepage, we can explore what the word is searching for as a whole. So we can look on a wider scale, what are the topics of people interested in? And we can scroll down here to see the latest stories and insights that have been put together by our team at Google Trends. And we can see those recently trending topics on the front page as well. So obviously when the Summer Games are out, we're going to see a lot more information on the Summer Games, and our team at Google will be able to develop this kind of pooled data for you so that you can use this within your own reporting case. So it's country and sports specific pages that you can see what and where people are following the sports. So there's lots of inspiration and context that you can get as well. So Ahmed, you've written in the comments how to narrow down trend specific interests like searches related to sports but not the location. Usually when I use my country, I get all the top searches for football and local actors. Well, on the front page of Google Trends, so on the front page here, this is where we can search for specific search terms or topic. So you can look for a specific athlete, you can look for a specific, let's say, sport, for example, and then that whittles down in the country you're searching for or in the location, and it will whittle down into maybe cities or constituencies that are in that area. Okay, so then you can delve deeper into the data itself. And of course, those of you that have watched our Google Trends sessions before, we can download that data and then visualize it in some data visualization tools that I'll talk about later on in today's session. So if you will be covering the Summer Games, it's really worth heading over to Google Trends. Even if you don't want to delve deep into the tool, you can get lots of inspiration, as I say, by going onto that front page and looking at our sports specific pages and our country specific pages as well. So that's Google Trends. As I say, it's a very exciting tool. It changes every single day, every single hour. So make sure going in and using that. But the next tool I would like to talk to you about today is Google Earth. And for me personally, this is one of the most exciting tools that I found to use here at Google, because this tool goes far beyond a regular map that you might be used to using in your articles. So rather than something like Google Maps or Google My Maps, which is 2D, you might be wanting to use more of an animated 3D perception visualization of a story to really help engage your audience. Okay, so Google Earth in itself uses satellite imagery, aerial photography, 3D topography, geographic data, and Street View all in one tool. So you can cover events like marathons and other sports which are location based and based in beautifully visual areas. Okay, so really creating that visual content that's going to excite your audience and draw them into the story. And that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to jump into the tool in a moment, but I just wanted to mention to you here that in Google Earth, rather than just using this tool to dive into different locations and see images of places where you might never have been able to go to or never be able to get to, you can also create your own interactive projects. So you can make guided tours of specific locations, specific places, marathon routes, for example, or sports stadiums where sporting games may be taking place. So these can be used alone within your own reporting, or of course, these can be used within a wider article. Okay, so they can accompany other pieces of mediums that you might be writing in, maybe a bit of broadcast. Depending on what you are creating, you can use these projects to really enhance your reporting, putting the audience directly in the story, right where the action is taking place. So I'm going to show you what this looks like in the tool. So here we have Google Earth. You can get to this by going to earth.google.com, and we can see our globe from space. And look, I can spin it around however I like. I can zoom in, I can change the angle. I can really delve into all of the different places where we have imagery that's been captured by Google Earth. So over here on the left-hand side, this is my search bar, and I can search for different locations. But in this lesson today, what I want to do is I want to highlight to you the ability to create these projects that I've just spoken about. Now, if you don't know what a project is or you can't imagine it, if you go over to this Voyager tab here on the left-hand side, there's already pre-made projects that have been created by the team that show you a range of different topics. So you can see they're divided into different categories like nature, games, layers, street view, and so on and so forth. And we can actually see and be taken around to different locations in the world. So we can go here, we go Las Vegas, to Queenstown, and so on and so forth. There's so many different places where we can visit. Now, these are what we call projects. So if I was to delve into them, so I'm going into the Southern Hemisphere ski spots, for example. So now you can see I'm in a project. This is a Google local guide. So I can click Start Exploring. And what it's going to do is it's going to take me to the first of many different places within this individual project. Okay, so here we are in our first location. You can see we've gone to Australia, to a ski resort there. And as an audience member, I can explore this local area. But what I can also do is see an image up here on the top right of the screen, and I can see some text and context down here at the bottom right. I can then click to go to the next place. Now, as a journalist working as a freelancer or within a news organization, we can create these projects ourselves as well. So if you're covering a certain sporting event, or you're covering a certain sport, or maybe you're doing a deep dive into an athlete and you're looking at where they grew up, where they've trained, and so on and so forth, you can also create these within Google Earth. So what you're doing is you're essentially searching for different places and adding them to a project, which puts them in this order where we can go from one place to another to another. So as I click through here, it's going to take me to these different locations. So of course, we can also create these about the summer games. So when we are reporting on the summer games, obviously we want to delve into that country. We want to go to the different locations. So in order to create your own project, you're going to go to the left-hand side of the screen here, and you're going to go to this little projects icon. Now, when we tap that, we can create our own project, or we can see any other projects that we might have made in the past. Now, here's one we've made earlier. So if I can tap into that, I can see we can create a project for the summer games that are going to be taking place. So let's say, for example, we want to delve into our first area. So I'm going to present this. I'm going to show you what this looks like. So here we go. For example, we've got a title slide. We've got a name, and we can add a description. We can add changes as much as we want. And we can also draw around different countries. So here we've drawn around Japan, and then we can delve deeper into Japan. Okay, so to our first location. So here we are. And then we can go to our next one, and we can basically take audiences on a tour. So if we want to, we can add some more text. We can add information about these different areas. But as you can see, as I can tap, I'm going to be taken around the globe. Okay, I can zoom out, I can zoom in as an audience member, however I like. So let me show you how I would make that. So this is a project, and this is what the project looks like in the back end once you've made a project and add lots of things to it. But what I can do is start a project from scratch to show you what this is going to look like. So I can tap here, new project. So this is what you would do when you go into your Google Earth account, and you're going to create your project. And I've put mine in Google Drive here. And let's say, for example, we're going to call this the Summer Games. Put a little description. And then we're going to click on new feature. So on this new feature here, I'm going to add a title card. So this is a great way to start your own project, because you can basically introduce your audience to what they're looking at. So we can see a full screen slide here, and we're going to put our title. So again, the Summer Games. Put your own description of however you have, whatever you want to say there. And then we can add a background picture here. So you can either upload one from your computer, or you can use one from Google Image Search, YouTube, Google Drive, your photos, or a URL. So what you're going to do is you're going to jump into an image. So here we are. We're uploading an image from our computers. And you can see that image, once it will be uploaded, so it just needs to take a few moments there. And you can choose a color scheme. So I'm going to choose blue, for example, and then I'm going to go back. So now we have our first little thing within our project. Now, obviously, the next thing we want to do is we want to take audiences to a country that it's going to take place in. So I'm going to take our audiences to Japan. Now, what I can do in Japan is I can either add this to my project as a whole, or what I can do is I can like draw a line around it. Okay, so when I'm, oh, sorry, I've just jumped to a different place. Let me just go back. So if you do tap that little icon, I'll pretend I did that on purpose, but that means I'm feeling lucky. So it will take you to a random place in the world, but we don't want to do that. Okay, so we're in Japan at the moment. Okay, so we've come to Japan. What we can do is we can go back to our projects here, and we can add a new feature, and we can draw a line or a shape around the whole country. So rather than just take them to just this one location, we can actually map out all of our storytelling as a whole. So we can draw around the country and then save this. Okay, so there we have our second point in our project. Now we can add a new feature. So let's go and add a place within our project. So let's put new national stadium where the sporting events will be taking place. And now can you see we're diving into this stadium here, and we're jumping into that, and we can see it on screen, and we can add this to our project. And we can save that into our project. So you can see you can keep going with this and so on and so forth as you move through your project. So you can see how easy it is to create this interactive storytelling. If I was to then present this, you can see we can see our title page and so on and so forth. We can see that we go straight to Japan. So we can see that we've circled this, we've highlighted this route, and we can jump to one of our first locations, okay? And you can change the picture, you can change the text however you like. So that's Google Earth. As I say, it's really exciting place to kind of look into this 3D imagery. We can do deep dives into any of the locations and give our audience a little bit more context of the stories that we're telling them, using in conjunction with longer form articles or as a standalone tool by itself. But what I would like to talk to you next is Google Earth Studio. Now, Google Earth Studio is a completely separate tool to Google Earth. Maybe you've used Google Earth before. However, it's an advanced animation tool, okay? So whereas Google Earth, we can dive into different locations, we can create these interactive projects. With Google Earth Studio, you can create really advanced animations using Google's satellite imagery. So it looks a little bit like this. So when you're in the tool itself, if you've never had any experience with video editing, don't be daunted. It's very, very simple to use once you get started. You just need a little bit of practice. But essentially, you can animate the geospatial information to create still and video content from 3D imagery that we have here at Google Earth, okay? It's free to use, it's web-based, but you must be in a Chrome browser, okay, so to have access. Okay, so I'm just going to play you this little video, and you'll see there is a huge amount of geographic data here. So, you know, basically we want you to be able to dive into this geographic data and use this within your own storytelling as well, okay? So it really is amazing. If you're watching it now, it's almost incredible the fact that you can create this. As I say, it's completely free. And you can decide the route that your video is going to take or the imagery that you'd like to get off Google Earth Studio. You can use this in a variety of different storytelling formats, maybe scrollable stories as you scroll down the page on the web, or maybe you want to take audiences to different locations for the summer games. Maybe you want to take people, as I say, into the athletes' hometowns. Maybe you want to use some of this Google Earth imagery as part of a longer form video. And we've seen a lot of different examples of people using Google Earth Studio within their own storytelling. So what I want to show you now is to show you how easy it is to jump into the tool and actually start creating your own visualizations, okay? So this is Google Earth Studio. And now Google Earth Studio in itself, it does take a little bit of practice, but it shouldn't take you long to pick up, honestly. You can pick it up in a matter of half an hour, just playing around with the tool, okay? So here we are on the front page, and you can see I can either create a blank project, or I can click this little downward green arrow. I can open a quick start project. So now I'm in a quick start project. You can see I've got 4 different templates, okay? So the first one is we're going to zoom to a location. So we're far away and we're zooming all the way into a very specific location or a building. The next one is orbit. So we can orbit around a certain location that looks fantastic, especially when that location is in 3D imagery. The next one is from point to point. So if you want to take audiences from point A to point B to point C. And we can spiral into a certain location, like a building, for example. So today we're going to use the zoom in template. We're going to zoom into a location and we're going to click start there at the bottom. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of the locations where the summer games will be taking place. So we're going to go to this stadium over here in Japan. So as you can see here, what the tool's done is I've just been able to type in my search query, so where I want to go, and it's found this imagery on top. Now, if I click this little green arrow to go next, I can pick my starting altitude. So how close I am or how far away I am. So just for fun, let's start from really, really far away in outer space. I'm going to click next, and you can see here that this is an animation that's been done via that zoom in quick start template that takes only 5 seconds. Okay, so now I can change the time if I want. So maybe let's put 12 seconds. So we can really, really smooth zoom in to that location. And I'm going to click that little green arrow. So now I'm in the tool itself, and I'm glad you're enjoying this tool, because it is something you can get started in straight away, and it is something that is quite mind-blowing once you put all of these graphics together. So I'm going to show you just how it works, just give you a little bit of a brief around this tool. So you can see here that we've got a preview screen up here on the top, and we've got our editor here at the bottom. Now, if you've never used any video editing software before, and it's something that you're a little bit wary of, then don't worry at all, because, as I say, you can pick it up. And the basics of this is that this is called your playhead, this like red vertical line. And as I drag this along, you can see in the preview screen there, I'm getting closer and closer and closer to my point of interest that I've already told the tool I'm going to go. You can see the numbers going up, 186, 187 on my mouse there, yeah, 189, 190, 191. Now, essentially, a video is just lots of different images put together, played really, really quickly to give the illusion of movement, isn't it? So I'm playing all these individual images, but really it looks like we're moving into the earth, okay? So these are just individual images, and these are our individual frames for our video. Now, we can choose at any point how we want the animation to look. So these little diamonds here, these are called keyframes. And a keyframe is basically an order that we're telling the tool, at this point in the video, I want the animation to look like this. I want to see, you know, this camera position, this camera target of this Earth imagery. So at the end there, we've already set that at the beginning, didn't we? That we want to see the stadium from this location. But we can do this in different ways as well. We can tap at the top here, and we can use the keypad. So I'm just using my left and right arrows down here on my keyboard, and I've now changed the angle that this looks like. Now, if I just make sure that all of these are blue, so I'm going to tap that keyframe icon, you see how it's changed my camera target and so on and so forth. It's added keyframes here for my camera rotation and camera target. Now, when I zoom in, can you see I've now changed the angle? And I can do this as many times as I want. I can end as many keyframes throughout the whole visualization as I like. So this is Google Earth Studio. Now, when you render it, it will at the moment render as a series of individual images that you will then have to export as a video using a separate third-party tool, okay? Or you can use all this imagery for like a scrollable story if you put it in the back end of your site. So it's an amazing tool. I definitely recommend you get started with it. And do let us know if you do get started with it and how you're using it to cover the summer games. We'd be really interested. But for now, we're going to move on to visualization tools. So, of course, when we're telling stories surrounding sporting events, we often look to be working with data sets, working with a range of information that we have to visualize in more exciting ways, okay? So, of course, writing long form articles is fantastic, but sometimes we want to break that up with visualizations that really tell the story in a different way to engage our audience, to grab their attention as they're scrolling through our articles, or maybe they're on our YouTube channel or social media sites, okay? But sometimes working with data and graphics can seem a little bit daunting, and we fully appreciate that. So, you know, I'm going to be talking you through a tool that will enable you to create visualizations without any use, previous knowledge of coding, HTML, any back-end website work, okay? So Flourish is an amazing tool which has lots of different templates in it. You're simply going to upload and put your data into it, and it will basically give you a beautiful visualization with minimal stress to you, but will keep your audience keeping track of the summer games. So here's a relatively simple visualization that was done from the New York Times. So I'm just going to play this You should be able to hear me talking over this at the moment. This was done by the New York Times. It kind of really brings to life how the athletes have improved over time. So we can see Usain Bolt and how fast he can run. You know, the Summer Games is often a showcase for news organizations to show this innovative storytelling in completely new ways. So we need to be thinking outside of the box and how we can grab audiences' attention that don't necessarily, pay attention to traditional forms of media or traditional ways of telling stories. So you can see all of these beautiful visualizations that we can use, as demonstrated here by the New York Times, really grab your attention. They show things in a different way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into our tool called Flourish, which will help to basically put your mind at rest of how you can get started with data visualization and how it's not as scary as I think sometimes it's made out to be, okay? So we have a tool called Flourish. As I say, it's a fantastic tool that you can use straight away within your storytelling. And this is what it looks like on the back end. So basically, we have a range of templates that you can dive into. So here we go. You create a free account, and journalists will have access to the premium accounts, which we will talk about in a moment. So you can see here, there's loads of different templates, and it goes far beyond like static bar charts and line charts and pie charts that you might be used to, okay? So here you can see we've got lots of different types of chart. We've got some projection maps. We've even got scatter diagrams, 3D maps, hierarchy graphs, and so on and so forth. So there's loads of different templates that you can use within your own reporting. However, we also have some new templates that you can use specifically for the Summer Games. And these look like this. So, for example, we have a countdown that you can see there at the top. So you're simply going to enter, when you want this to count down to, the date and time you want that to count down to. And you can create pictograms. So we've got pictograms here as a medal at the bottom. So if I just show you that in Flourish, we have here in the middle, we've got our pictograms. So you're just going to go into the pictograms here, and we can change on the right hand side what these icons are going to look like. So you can find medals in here and you can play around with those. As you can see, there's tons of different ones that you can play around with. Now, those of you that have done our visualization GNI live events before or have had training with us, it's definitely worth re-watching some of those videos and going back on them. For those of you that haven't played around with this tool before, essentially all of the templates that you'll see within the app itself, they have blog posts on how to use every one and how you need to upload the data. So don't be daunted by it. Definitely have a play around with it. And as I say, we've got those summer sports templates that you can use. We've got the pictogram there, and we've even got countdowns as well. So we've got image countdowns and we've got simple countdowns for you to use. And if you're ever unsure when you go into a template of how to use this and how to edit here and how to add your data here, what we're going to do is we're going to tap on the name of the template once we're inside in that preview tab, and it will show you how to use this template and importantly, how to upload or give data to that template, okay? So there's so much that we can do within Flourish. It's a free tool for you to use. And those of you, of course, watching who are working within the news industry, the Google News Initiative actually covers the cost of a full enterprise account. So you can upgrade your account completely free of charge on the Google News Initiative. And these are for newsrooms who sign up. You go to flourish.studio/newsrooms. You can do things like develop your own templates. You can add them to Flourish. You can access easy to use options like publish, embed. You can update your visualizations as statistics change over time and more. So it's a really, really fantastic tool to get involved in. I'm just going to play you about a 2-minute video about Flourish for newsrooms, and hopefully this will inspire you to get your own account and get started yourself today.
Everyone loves a beautiful data graphic or interactive story, whether it's a map that squishes to make a complex subject simple, a chart that animates to explain a correlation changing over time, or an interactive so rich it can give us a new view of the world. But good data work is hugely time-consuming, out of reach for small newsrooms, and hard to justify even for the big ones. Until now. Flourish is a new platform that allows anyone to make world-class graphics, maps and interactives quickly and easily. There's no software to install, just log in, click to create a new visualization and choose a suitable template. You can use the ever-growing library of built-in templates, or if you do have in-house coders, adapt the templates or make your own from scratch, allowing you to create a suite of unique data tools that all your staff can use. There's literally no limit to what a template can be. It could be anything from a simple line chart to a rich graphic such as this one for exploring a group of people and how that group changes over time. It could even be something in VR. Making a graphic from a template is easy. Give your project a name and then quickly upload your own data, either by pasting it in from Excel or uploading a CSV file. You can also preview your project on different device sizes. Flourish is fully responsive and mobile friendly. When you're happy with your graphic, you can publish it with one click and grab an embed code, or download the project if you prefer to publish from your own server. But that's only the start. You can now use the unique Flourish Story Editor to guide an audience through your graphic or multiple graphics, assembling different views into a linear story to engage an audience. The result can be a step-by-step explainer or a graphic that updates when you scroll through a text story or press play on a voiceover. Suddenly, this kind of high-end data storytelling can take minutes rather than days or weeks. But Flourish isn't limited to data graphics. The BBC created a template for making interactive documentaries. It allows the editors there to explain a complex topic, offer up relevant content such as video, and to curate the audience feedback and response on social media. All of this in multiple languages. So that's Flourish. We think it has the potential to be hugely useful in all sizes of newsrooms, and we can't wait to see what you do with it.
Okay, so we can see there some of the benefits that it can bring for you guys as reporters to be using this tool. So we would love to see what you use it for and how you use it. Of course, show us the stories that you're working on. Now, the final tool that I wanted to talk to you about today is called Web Stories on Google. So at this point, we're all familiar with the story format. So you guys will have been on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, flicking through this kind of tappable story. So this can include images, videos, short quotes, data visualizations, all of the above. So you tap through and watch the action unfold. Okay, so take your head away for a moment of those geo tools and some of the other, data visualizations tools that we've spoken about today. Now we're talking about a different way of storytelling, this kind of tappable way that we can take our audiences on a journey, but it's basically controlled by the audience. Okay. Now, of course, when we're using a social media platform, that content is hosted on a different social media platform. So if we're going to post to Instagram stories, our platform is on Instagram. Our content is on Instagram. If we're going to be using Facebook stories, our content is on Facebook. However, the idea of the storytelling is similar here with Web Stories on Google. But in this case, you host the story yourself. Okay, so meaning your audience doesn't have to go to an external platform to view it. And it doesn't disappear after 24 hours. So this offers a really kind of creative and playful way of using videos, but without requiring advanced video editing skills. And the great thing is it's really, really easy to do. There are lots of tools that you can use to get started with it. I'll show you an example of a web story. This is from AS and it's on the Euros. So we can see here, we can tap through our story as we go, and we can see we've got animation on there, we've got text, we've got images, and the audience can go back, we can go forward, we can tap through when we're bored, or we can go back and rewatch things. Okay, so this is an exciting way to tell a story. We've also got other examples of how you might want to use web stories. So here are some examples from different organizations. So we've got Bustle, and they do a timeline of the women's right to vote. So they've got static imagery and text here. So they've got lots of beautiful photos and information. So you don't have to use videos if you don't want to, but you see how it's on bustle.com. It's on the website. Okay, so we can see this content as it's playing out. Another example here is how money is made. This is by Refinery29. And you can go onto the website, and again, you can tap through that story as it unfolds. And of course, we can do this when we're reporting on the Summer Games. We can have flashbacks or reruns of races that have happened. We can do historical deep dives. We can use text, we can use video, we can use audio. And there's a variety of tools that will enable you to do this, okay? So the tools are all on our website, so stories.google/tools. And you can see here on the website, there's so many different ways that you can be producing web stories, okay? So everything from WordPress plugins to apps on your phone to get started, okay? So you can use Newsroom AI, Join Stories, Storyfy Me. This is just a few of the collection. So it's definitely worth having a play around with this if you're looking for new and exciting ways to engage your audience. We also have a YouTube series, a playlist, which you can dive into and watch step by step on an introduction to web stories and how to do them and why your news organization might want to take part. Okay, so there's so many resources that you can get started with. I will put that URL in the chat now so that you guys can jump into it and go straight to watch some of those videos there. But web stories is a really exciting tool because basically it enables our audience to watch the content in their own time, but we're going to tell stories in a different way, okay? So bringing our stories to life, as it says there on screen. And obviously, if they're watching on desktop, it will look different to watching on a phone. So really trying to create this really colorful, creative content in different ways. So telling the story of the Summer Games in different ways. So thank you all very much for watching today's GNI live event. As I say, we do have a lot of training courses on our training center website, g.co/news training. I'd recommend you all go there to stay up to date with the latest tools and workflows for finding and telling news stories. As I say, you can do this on your own time, so definitely recommend going to this resource. And of course, rewatching this video as you go as well will also help you. So these are some contact details. If you've got any questions on training or tools, you can contact newslabsupport@google.com, or of course you can contact me directly. Okay, guys. So really lovely to be here with you all today. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for your participation in the chat as well there. All right, thank you very much, guys, and we will speak to you soon in the next series of the GNI Lives.